should we start? Give us just a sort of pointed version of Nate from birth to now. If you've gone too long, you can move over to Catholic. Yeah, but I mean, pagan background, Christian background, whatever.
I was very fortunate in Australia to grow up with two Christian parents. Grew up reading the Bible at night, praying prayers at night. As a result, I learned a lot about the Bible from a very early age. Around year 7, 8 of high school, I rebelled against what my parents had taught me. I started running with a crowd that I think were trying to live a full life. Like they wanted to be satisfied, and the extreme would bring that. But all that ended up happening is I felt way more empty than I ever had before. And my parents gave me a Christian book about Keith Green, famous Christian musician. They told me it was just about a musician. I was interested in music, so I started reading. But the bit that struck me the most was his understanding of who Jesus is. He was not just an historical figure, the one that I met in the Bible and knew a lot about. He was his personal savior. And I realized I didn't know that Jesus. And so over a 2-week period, I remember I was about to go into year 11, grade 11, and I read through the Gospels over a 2-week period. And by the end of them, I was utterly convinced. The Holy Spirit worked in my heart that Jesus is who he said he is. He's the Son of God. And I needed to take him seriously. So I prayed a very simple prayer to follow him. Throughout that, I started attending a church where the Bible was preached really clearly. I started to get more involved in Christian music. I learned songs by Randy Stonehill and Mark Fern and Keith Green. Started sharing them with other school groups. And they started inviting me to their youth groups, and then to their churches, and then to conferences. And before I knew it, I had deferred university, and I've been deferred ever since. Actually, they sent me a letter not too long ago and said, "You've now been deferred so long, none of your credits count. So this is it for you." So I guess I have nothing to show for it, except I get to sing about Jesus, and it's taken me all over the world, from all over Australia for a long period of time, to now living in Nashville with Cassie for the last 5 years.
Cassie, you have the answer question? Okay. You hold this nice and tight to you. Just tell us how you met this man and how long you've been married.
He tells the story so much better than I do.
Yeah, but you'll take so much longer. Do not step back. They're both Anglicans, so Okay.
Nate and I are coming up to 7 years married this December. We met in church, very, I would say, quite normal. But it has a little story to it. He had his cell phone with him. He doesn't get to church. He didn't get to our church very regularly throughout that year because he was touring. And he got a little message on his phone from one of his best friends that said, "Who's that sexy girl behind you?" He turned around, and I'm not claiming it all to be that, but that was the message, and he turned around, saw me, and decided that he needed to get to know who I was. So he joined my Bible study group, and we got to know each other. Turns out his friend wasn't at church that night. He was just sending him a spoof message. That's officially how we met.
That's funny.
How long have you been in Nashville? Why Nashville?
We've been in Nashville 5 years this month. I started visiting Nashville about 11 years ago to spend time with a Christian musician called Michael Card. He was someone who was a lot older than I was, but still very faithfully writing Christian music, studying the Bible, and I wanted to hang out with someone older and wiser than me. I realized very early on in my music ministry that when you strap on a guitar, people take what you say as gospel, more than without the guitar. And I realized that...
They're going to get a guitar.
Yeah. But it made me tremble at night. Like I literally, genuinely, after every place that I shared, I would tremble. And so I started to seek out those people who were doing what I was doing, but had done it a lot longer, a lot more faithfully, and hoped that they would so into my life, and through that I met another man named Charlie Peacock, who's a Christian producer and writer in Nashville. And after a lot of great things happening in Australia, that my music getting played on radio and television, all these things that were completely